Hey guys, this is Drew Douglas, back in for WordPress for Designers, Day 6. We're going to move right along where we left off yesterday. And if you were watching yesterday, you'll remember that we started breaking up our files and really got into how flexible WordPress can be when we break up and manage our separate files and then use WordPress functions to call those files when we need to do so. So today we're going to move right along and get into the template hierarchy and how to design our single page for our single posts for our test blog that we have going right now. So again, I want to apologize if the audio isn't as good as usual. I'm going to try to speak up, but I'm still battling off a little bit of a cold here, but I will do my best. So apologies in advance if you're having any trouble hearing me, but I'll do my best to speak up. Okay, so we'll go ahead and load Firefox as always, and this is where we left off last time. You'll remember that we have our sidebar displaying now. We have, this is a separate header file with our navigation. We have a footer file. But one thing we haven't really discussed is when we click on our actual individual posts, is how is this formatted, and what template file does it know to use to style our individual posts as opposed to our home page. So let's check out the WordPress codex, and we'll just Google it. WordPress codex, Google template hierarchy. I don't know if I spelled that right. Yep. Okay, it's the first link, and we'll click on template hierarchy, and I'll have all these links for all of you below. And if we scroll down, we can read a little bit more about the template hierarchy, but we can see a big map here. And this is all how WordPress decides what files you have to use in order to format a page. Like I said, we're just going to worry about our single post, an individual article. So if we scroll down and we see single post display right now, we see that single does trump index. So that means that in order to format our single post, we're going to need to create a single.php file for the formatting of our individual posts. Because if we go over to our text editor, right now it is using our index structure that we have here. Any divs that might be here and anything that is included, it's using this structure. So if we wanted to have a different structure for our single articles, we're going to need a single.php page, which is what we're going to do today. And again, I will have these links for you because it's really a nice read to get to know more about the template hierarchy. And we'll cover that more as we go along, but we'll take it slow and just create our single.php file. So by now, you should be pretty familiar with the files that we have going on so far, and we'll just create a new file. We'll call it single.php, and we'll open that up. Okay, now the first thing that we're going to need to do on any page is most likely we're going to need to call our header. And if you remember, there is a function called getHeader. And this is something I want to touch on a little more. We're using getHeader at the top here to grab our header on our index file. We're using getSidebar. And we're also going to get into the footer some more today, but these get requests are, there are four main files that we can use to shortcut our header or some of our files and call them with getHeader or getSidebar. And those files are header.php, sidebar.php, footer.php, and the comments template, which is what we'll cover some more today. But I just wanted to note that you can't just you can't create a file called advertisements and then say get advertisements. It doesn't work like that. There are only certain functions that we can use to call files with certain names. So I wanted to make sure I pointed that out so some of you weren't trying to name a file file2 and then call get file2 in between PHP tags, because it doesn't exactly work like that. There's certain pre-set up functions for us that we're using. So I just wanted to note that before going any farther with some of the get calls that we're using. Okay, so for our single.php file, well, the first thing we're going to need to do is call our header, which contains our logo, our doc type, and all of our head information. So we're going to do get header in between PHP tags. Okay, next we're going to grab our sidebar because we still want to display our sidebar information on our single page, and since I'm floating it to the right, I'm going to call the sidebar before our information. Okay, now the next thing that we need is to actually grab the individual post. And this is why we went over the WordPress Loop a few days ago, is so we could learn how we grab out and extract our content from the WordPress database. So first we'll just wrap everything here in a class called single post, and close that off. Okay, and we will start our basic loop. And if you remember the loop, it's all in PHP tags. It's if have posts colon while, which is a while loop, have posts, so why will we have posts, another colon, grab the post, and semicolon, and close our PHP tag. Okay, now inside we're going to want to show the title of the post like we normally would do, so PHP, and you'll remember the title from when we went over template tags, which grabs the title of the current post. We'll grab the title, and for now we'll just grab the entry. We'll come back and add some more. So we'll give it a div class of single entry. Excuse me, I had to clear my throat there. Div class of single entry, and in between that we will put PHP the content, which is what actually displays our content. And we'll go ahead and finish off the loop for now, and we're going to come back and add a lot more cool things to our single page. So first thing we need to do is end our while loop and give it an else statement. And now remember, if we don't have, for some reason someone finds a page or a link breaks and there is no post to display, we want to give a user-friendly message. So we'll do that in between after this the else statement we've given. So we'll just, we'll do something simple like, sorry, but we could not find what you were looking for. And then, let's include our search form. If you remember, if we go to sidebar, we used PHP get search form when we created our sidebar, so we can just copy that and just throw it in a div for now. And that way, if we don't have any post to display, we can have a search form also show up between our custom message. And the last thing that we need to do is end the loop. Okay. Oh, and there's one more thing we're missing, and you've probably spotted it. Last thing is we want to grab our footer. And you'll remember that that is get footer. Okay. Let's see how that does so far. Well, we're not going to be able to tell much of a change, but we can see the whole article here. And it's obviously grabbing our footer. So everything's working as we would expect it to. But it's still, it's kind of plain, and even though we're not worried about the aesthetics, but let's add some more information about this individual post. And once again, we'll be using template tags to grab some information about this post. So one we could do is right above the post before it starts, and after the title, obviously, we could have just display the time and the date that the post was made on. So just between some emphasis tags, just to separate it a little bit. What we'll do is we'll do PHP the time, We'll close our PHP. And then we can just, before it will write, article posted on. And now in between the time, we're going to pass it some parameters. And you can just follow along, and I'll explain more about this in a second. We'll do L, comma, capital F, comma, lowercase j, capital S, comma, capital Y. And then we'll do at, and now we want to include the time. So PHP, the time. It's all pretty obvious naming conventions for these functions, which is nice. And we'll say at the time. Okay, so what is LF and then JSY? Well, WordPress has set up time structures for us, and pretty much depending on the parameters you pass the time, you can format it in ways that you like. So if I go back and refresh, you see that we have article posted on Wednesday, February 4th, 2009 at 6:20 p.m. So if I'll give you guys a link below too, so you can learn how to format and pass different parameters to the time, and you can really format it however you want. But that's kind of the default way, and I enjoy reading it that way. So that is how you include the time and the date. And how about some tags? I've went ahead and I've included some WordPress tags with this post. So we'll do PHP, and we want to display the tags after all of our content. So we'll just do PHP, the tags, close that off for now. Okay, and now we need to, well, let's just save it now and see what we got. See how the formatting on the tags is right now. Okay, that's pretty good. It's basic formatting with a comma in between. If you wanted to pass certain parameters to the tags, we could do something like you can find in a lot of themes now. You could wrap them in some strong tags. We could say my tags. Okay, and then we would obviously do that. Give it a separator, like so. Okay, I think that's right. Let's see if that worked. Okay, it did not. Okay. Leave it default. I'll leave it default for now. We will come back to that because we won't worry about how to format the tags right now. Obviously, I messed up a few of the commas, but we'll leave the formatting for here now. Because another thing I wanted to go over was promoting our article a little bit and how we can automatically have WordPress do this instead of typing it out. So let's say we want to have a little note at the end of all of our individual articles, not on our main page, but on our single individual article pages, that encouraged users to maybe subscribe to our RSS feed, let's say. So, after the tags, let's add a div class of promote here. And we'll just, say something like, enjoy this article. If you have, enjoyed this article, please subscribe to our RSS feed. Okay, now we will open up an anchor tag. And we did this the other day, but it's a nice refresher. And inside, for the href, we'll do PHP blog info. Then inside our quotations, RSS2 underscore URL. Close our quotation mark there, and we'll put RSS feed for the text, and close our paragraph tag. We'll go ahead and save that. hop on back over to WordPress here and refresh. And you can see I've done some very crappy CSS structure just to point out what we've done here. And around our little border is enjoy this article. If you've enjoyed this article, please subscribe to our feed, and it has a link to our RSS feed, which is a really convenient way to not have to worry about always hand coding something in. And you can really get pretty creative with that, because you can imagine if you wanted to have a random message or a message or an ad display at the bottom of individual posts only. You could just enter just an image src tag and have your ad or any of your sponsors show up in the bottom. So I think we will leave our single page at that, but I want to go over one more thing, which is kind of has to do with the get header and get sidebar things that we talked about earlier. And let's say that we wanted to include our footer, but we didn't know about get footer, or let's say we want to include any file, and obviously there's not a get function for that file if it's a custom named file. So let's get rid of get footer. Now what we can do with WordPress instead is use a pre-set up keyword known as template path and include our file that way. So instead of get footer, we could do something like PHP. Then we'll use a regular PHP include. Now without quotations yet, we'll do template path, and all uppercase in one word. Okay, so we'll write template path, and then we will add a period. Now add our quotes, and the period is to continue to add on to the template path. And then we could just do footer.php. So if we had a file named file2 or sponsors.php that we were wanting to include in our individual articles only, we could use the keyword of template path and include it via WordPress that way. So if we save that and refresh, we'll see our footer should have still shown up, but it's not. I must have typed something wrong here. Let's get rid of the slash. Okay, what did I do? Oh, okay. What did I type wrong? We don't have a footer.php file set up yet. That would be what I did wrong. Well, we have time. Let's do that now. You'll remember that we did this. Let's grab everything in our index file from the ending of our HTML tag all the way up to begin footer. So we'll grab all of our footer information. We'll erase it, and we will make a new file and call it footer.php. Open up footer and put all of our footer information into that separate footer file. Now we'll go back to index.php, and again, just for demonstration purposes, you could do get footer, but to show you some other options for different file types, you could do template path period, give some quotes, footer.php. We'll save that. It's okay. Same on the next page. Hopefully I did it right this time. Let's go back to our index page. Okay, there's our footer, and there's our footer. Good. Finally got that figured out. But yeah, that is an option. So that is a different way to include any kind of file that you'd like, and not worrying about the path to the file, just the file name. And we can do that using the keyword template path here. So we're starting to see some real progress with our theme. Of course, it looks awful, but like I've mentioned, we're gonna move on to a PSD here pretty shortly, and really get into some cool things, and comments we'll get into very shortly, and customizing the loop is going to be a really cool one that we'll get to. So I encourage you to go to themeforest.net and subscribe if you get a chance. Well, looks like it's taking long to load, but you guys know how to find it. So subscribe to the RSS feed if you guys are enjoying these articles, and I will see you for day 7. Have a great day. Oh, and happy Valentine's Day, too, to everybody out there. Hope you guys have a great Valentine's Day.